Hey guys, I'm Alicia, and today we're making heartbeat earrings. So, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm pregnant, and I thought it would be a really cool thing to copy my little girl's heartbeat into some earrings and make some memorable jewelry. So, I'm gonna be using some 16 gauge wire to make the base, and that's this guy right here. And you can use the birthstone if you want to. I'm not sure if she's gonna be born in February or March, so I'm just gonna kind of go with my favorite stones, which are turquoise and tiger's eye. But maybe when she's born, I'll switch it out to her birthstone. So you can kind of do whatever you want to do. Maybe you have someone that you've lost in your family that you want to remember, so you can do you can make earrings, necklaces, bracelets, whatever you want to do. But today I'm going to do earrings. And then you're going to need some 20 gauge wire. It just depends on the size of your bead hole. So these are smaller gemstones, so a 20 gauge doesn't fit through my stones, but that's the only reason I'm using 26 gauge wire, because I have to make my own head pin. But if you have larger holes in your stones, then you can probably use a regular head pin. And then you're going to need a flat nose plier to make the heartbeat in your wire, and probably pick up a nylon plier because you always need it with wire. And then a cutter, flush cutter, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need a bench block and a hammer to hammer out the ends so that we can punch a hole in the bottom to add our stones to, and then a hole punch. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start out with your 16 gauge wire, and I'm just gonna measure mine, I think probably around 4 inches. Yeah, 4 inches, because when you start to make the heartbeat, it's gonna shrink. Depending on what kind of jewelry where you are, if you want smaller, you can go smaller. This is just the size I'm using. And then, so I've already got 2. And some people always ask, how do you make the earrings the exact same? Well, what you're gonna do is you're gonna make sure kind of that your wire is straight, and that's what your nylon plier is for. You just wanna go in and kind of straighten that out, and while you're straightening the wire, it's also going to harden the wire a little. So that's a good thing as well. So you wanna get these as straight as you can, and then you're gonna put them both together, and I kinda wanna make my heartbeat just at the bottom. And so I'm gonna take my flat nose plier, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do it at the same time, so these earrings will be exactly the same. I'm gonna bend one way, and while my flat nose plier is still holding onto my wire, I'm gonna push those 2 pieces of wire the opposite way. So you can see that starting to make your heartbeat. And then now I'm just gonna move my flat nose pliers to this little bend and push my wire back the opposite way. And then I'm going to rotate my flat nose plier down to this side and push those back, and then rotate where that bend is, and then push these straight. And now you've got 2 earrings, the exact same, because you did them at the exact same time, so you don't have to go back and try to match this up, because it will never work. It's just, you'll have to get your measuring tape out and make little dots. This is just so much easier. So now you've got your 2 earrings made, and what you're gonna do now is you're gonna come in here. I'm just gonna kind of bend it to make it a little straight. And now you've got this little tail right here. This is where your bench block comes in, and you're gonna just set that end onto your bench block, and you're gonna take your dome-shaped hammer, and you're just gonna hammer this end, and you're trying to make a little paddle so that you have enough wire once it kind of spreads out to punch a hole on. If you don't have a hammer and a bench block, you can always just loop that end backwards and because some people don't have a hammer and a bench block. So you can just make a loop on the end if you want to. But I'm gonna do a punch on mine. So I'm just hammering the ends, and you can see that it's starting to get wider down there. So the metal is just kind of spreading out as I hammer it. And you can see now it's got its little paddle down there. You're gonna do the same thing with your, so this is what it started out looking like. You can see how thin that is, and now you can see how much room I have to punch a hole on there. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Okay, so now you've got your paddles ready, and now it's time to hole punch your ends. So you're gonna take your hole puncher, if you have one, and you're just gonna come in here, center that up onto your little paddle, and punch your hole. And then you've got a hole in your little paddle right there. So now that's where you're gonna attach your stones. So you're gonna do the same thing with your second earring. So you've got two holes there. And if it kind of curls up a little bit, you can take your flat nose plier and just squeeze it and straighten it back up. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna come up to the top. And you can do, if you want, so I want my earrings to go like this. I don't want them both to be this way, because then it'll not kind of match up with your, so I want both, I want one side to go out and the other side to go out. So I'm gonna turn them the way I want them. And then I'm gonna take my round nose plier that I didn't mention in the beginning that you need to make your loop up at the top. So let me grab that. And you're just gonna take that and loop it back towards you to make your loop. And then you're gonna do the same thing with this earring. You're just looping it back towards you. So now you've got the base of your earrings. You can see your little heartbeats. And then you're just gonna add on whatever stones you want. So I like tiger's eye and a little bit of turquoise. You can do the birthstones. I'm still waiting to figure out when she's gonna be born, so I'll change those when she does get born. But for now, I'm gonna go with tiger's eye and some turquoise. And the only reason I'm using 26 gauge wire is because my gemstones, the holes that are drilled in these are a lot smaller than your standard gemstones. So you need a smaller gauge wire to fit in there. So whatever stones you're using, you'll have to figure out, are the holes like standard holes, or are they smaller, and just go with whatever gauge wire fits them. But I'm sure you can use a normal head pin. But I'm gonna make my own head pin using 26 gauge wire. I'm just gonna take the end down here and I'm just gonna bend it over. So you see there's a little hook, and then I'm gonna squeeze that hook together just like that to make a head pin so that my beads don't fall off of the end. And I'm gonna add my little tiger's eye and my turquoise. You can add whatever beads you want. And then I'm gonna take my round nose plier, come up to the top And I'm gonna push that over into a 90-degree angle. Move that. And then I'm gonna rotate my round nose plier up, bring that wire over the top of my round nose plier, and rotate and bring it under. So you've got like a little loop, but before you close it off, you're gonna slide that little loop through your hole that you punched and slide that on so you can connect it straight to your earring without using a jump ring. And then once you have that through your hole, you're just gonna come up here and hold that wire together, and then you're just gonna start wrapping your wire around. And I like to do a little messy wrap to make it more organic. And then you just cut that off, and you have your little bead hanging. So you do the same thing with the other one. So now all you have to do is add your ear wire on to it and you're done. So these are so fast. I'm all about fast, fun, and if I have an outfit to wear and I need something, I can make it in like 10 minutes instead of working on something all day long. This also makes for a perfect Valentine's Day gift. So you can use pink, red, whatever beads you want. It's up to you. It's your gift to someone. So you choose. And you have made your heartbeat earrings. Let's go over the tools one more time so you know what you need to make these heartbeat earrings. So you're gonna need some 16 gauge wire to make the base of your earrings. You're gonna need some beads, whatever beads you like. You're gonna need a cutter, a flush cutter. You're gonna need a round nose plier. You're gonna need a nylon plier to straighten your wire. You're definitely gonna need your flat nose plier because that's what's going to shape your heartbeat. And then you're gonna need a hole punch if you decide you wanna do the hole punch at the end, or you can just do it with your round nose plier. You're gonna need your bench block and a hammer to flatten out the end so you can hole punch. And then I'm using 26 gauge wire to put my beads on because my bead holes are very small, but you can probably use whatever size wire you need depending on what size hole your bead is. Thanks so much for watching. What beads would you use for your heartbeat earrings? Leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, and ring that bell. And now that you've made your heartbeat earrings, you can say, I made this.